Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be making dinner rolls. This is going to be a super simple, beginner-friendly recipe, and it will really wow your family if you are on the list for dinner rolls for Thanksgiving. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first, we are going to be using 4 cups of bread flour. So we're going to go ahead. You don't want to pack the flour in. I kind of take and fluff it up. I mean, you could spoon this in and do all that, but I don't have time for that. So I just make sure I don't pack it in. You just kind of lightly get 4-ish cups of flour. We'll add more if we need to. And then we're going to do a 1/2 tablespoon of yeast, and we're going to put it into a 1.5 cups of warm water. And we also need 1/3 cup of sugar for this recipe. So we're just going to pour a little bit of that into our yeast so that it helps it come alive, come back from the sleeping dead. Pop that back in the fridge. So we're going to put, while that's kind of doing its thing, we're going to put the rest of our sugar into our bowl here. I'm just going to do like that. Is that necessary? No, you do not need to do that whatsoever. I'm also doing this by hand so that for those of you that don't have a mixer, so that you can see that this is easy to do by hand. You don't have to have fancy equipment, and it is really super simple. I do need some salt. So we need a teaspoon of salt. This is just regular iodized table salt, nothing spectacular. That's about a teaspoon. So you don't need fancy salt either. I mean, it's great if you have fancy salt, but it's certainly not necessary. I'm just gonna plop 6 tablespoons of melted butter into our sugar, yeast, milk mixture. Do you need to do that? No, I just did it just because. We're going to mix all of this together. So at first I'm going to mix it in the bowl, and then we will turn this out onto our counter to do the kneading. But we're just going to mix all of our ingredients together. Like I said, this is a super simple, very easy, very basic bread dough, dinner roll recipe. It doesn't require expensive ingredients. You can use bread flour or all-purpose. I used bread tonight because that's what I had out. But I mean, definitely use whatever you have on hand. You don't need any expensive ingredients, and these will turn out great. And you want to have about a whole stick of butter because you add 6 tablespoons to the bread dough, but then we also want some to brush onto our dinner rolls once they come out of the oven. So we're just gonna knead all this flour in, and if we need to put more, we can. You always, not always, I mean, it's not like you don't have to do it, but you wanna start out with less flour as opposed to more. You can always add moisture back into, but it's just harder and it kind of gets like yucky pretty quick. So this is kind of a little sticky, so I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit more flour. You wanna do little bit by little bit though. You don't wanna go getting crazy because you don't want too stiff of a dough because then it'll just be pretty dense. But it is okay for you to make your dough however you see fit and however you like it. One thing I will say though is that you definitely should cook these until they're very golden brown. A big mistake I see a lot of people making when they're doing dinner rolls, they will take them out when they're like a blonde color. Don't do that because a lot of the flavor, I mean, again, I don't want to say don't do that like you're doing it wrong, because you do it however you want to do it. But I assume if you're watching this video, one, you either just are watching it to be supportive and thank you, or you're watching it to try to learn. And in that case, if you're watching it to learn, because you got to bring dinner rolls. You want to bake them until they're a really nice golden brown, which I'll show you obviously towards the end of the video. But if you haven't already, could you hit like and subscribe to my channel? And for those of you that are already subscribed, thank you for being here. I really appreciate the engagement, the comments, the support. Means the world. So we're going to keep kneading this for quite a few minutes. I would say 8 to 10. You want to knead the dough until it's nice and smooth. So we're just developing the structure. And you can use a stand mixer if you have one and want to. I said in another video that I like kneading dough, and for most always I do. Some doughs, there's a cinnamon roll that I make that it takes so much, it's like 45 minutes worth of mixing with the mixer. Like I could never do that by hand. And I probably sound winded right now because I'm like trying to talk and knead at the same time, but I assure you I'm okay. I'm not like running a marathon. I'm just like kneading a big thing of dough. Apparently it's exercise. I don't know where I was going with that, but other than I like kneading dough for most of the time. Except for like bagels, because that dough's really stiff. It's just easier to do in a mixer. But you can see our dough is starting to come together. But I'm going to keep going a little bit longer because I want it a little bit smoother. This is a very nice dinner roll. It's very buttery, very fluffy. It's definitely Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner worthy for sure. And this is just a regular dinner roll recipe that I make throughout the year, but I also make it on the holidays. So I thought now would be a good time to share it for those of you who are maybe looking for an easy dinner roll recipe. This is definitely a good one. And I would use whole milk. That's what I use. Whole milk when you're cooking gives you a better result. But you know, you can use whatever you want. I don't know if it'll turn out as good or whatever, but it doesn't really matter as long as you like it and your family likes it, then it doesn't really matter what liquid you use, I suppose. You know, you do whatever you want. You could experiment with it and try milk substitutes or just water. I mean, it would turn out with just water for sure. So just because you don't have milk doesn't mean it wouldn't work. Okay, guys, you can see we got a nice smooth. See how pretty that dough is? Very nice and smooth. So that's pretty much what you want it to look like. Very beautiful, very, very soft dough. So we're gonna take a little bit of oil. You can butter, oil, whatever. I'm just gonna put it back into the bowl that I mixed it in because it's going to be fine. Put a little bit of oil in there. You just don't want it to stick everywhere. I always kind of like dip mine in and like rub it on there. You can do it however you want. Anyway, so we're gonna put our dough in. We're gonna leave it here until it doubles in size. I'm going to go ahead and cover it up. You can cover it with saran wrap or a towel. I'm just gonna use a towel. And we're gonna set it in a warm-ish location for it to rise, and then we'll come back and shape our rolls. So I'll see you in a little while. All right, guys, so our dough is ready. I have sprayed a 9x13 dish with some nonstick spray. So we're gonna take this out. You can punch it down. The air is gonna come out anyways. I tend to not punch it down because I want to kind of get this into even pieces. And one of the ways that I do that is to cut. Don't push hard. You don't want to mess your counter up. Unless you have real stone counters, then slice that up. And then each one of these, we're going to go into a third. What the pain is, I need to move these over. Get this one into thirds. Okay, so now that we've got each one of those into parts, so how I shape my dough into balls is I just kind of fold it over in on itself and pinch. Bottom you can roll like so, and you get a nice ball. So again, I just fold it in up on itself, roll. And no, these don't have to be like perfectly proportioned. Like that one's bigger, that one's smaller, they're gonna be fine. You could weigh these out if you wanted. So you just take the whole weight of your dough and then divide it by 12. And then you could weigh them out individually and have them like perfectly even if you wanted to. If you're tracking calories or something, I don't know why you would need to, but, or if you just want them like perfectly proportioned. That was a whole lot of yapping over the weight of a dinner roll, but you know, I know how the internet likes to be sometimes, you know, a little fussy. So you can see that we're just, this one's kind of a little big, so I'm gonna just rip it a little short there. So yuckums. But trust me, nobody's gonna care if your rolls are not the exact same size. What they care about is how they taste. And they care that you took the time to make it. As long as you're not including like animal hair in it, you know. And you like cook it thoroughly with clean hands. I mean, people do care about that. Or maybe just I do, I don't know. Okay, so we are gonna let these, we're gonna cover them up and we're gonna let them rise again. All right, guys, now that these have risen a little bit, as you can see, we're going to go ahead and pop these into a 350-degree oven. We're doing a little steak and asparagus spread tonight. Okay, so we're going to cook those probably about 25 minutes-ish. I don't know. I'll update. I don't really time stuff, but I'm trying to because, like, if I'm going to be making videos, I need to be giving some more accurate, descriptive instructions, I suppose. I don't really know if that's a rule or not, but anyways, I will bring you back as soon as these are done and out of the oven.